now, please welcome TUI Chief Marketing Officer
Erik Friemuth. Conversation with Skift Corporate Travel Editor
Matthew Parsons.
Hi everyone and welcome Erik. Thank you for joining us today for Skift Forum Europe.
Hi Matthew, good to be here and good to be at the Skift Forum again, even though it's slightly different than in 2017.
Slightly different circumstances, yeah. So we really appreciate you sparing the time to be with us, and also, yeah, like I said, it's a grand return since your appearance back in 2017. So welcome back. So we're here to talk about package holidays, more specifically rebuilding Europe's package holidays ecosystem. So it's going to be really fascinating to hear your inside take. For the benefit of the attendees, as well as Chief Marketing Officer at TUI Group, Erik is also Managing Director at TUI Hotels and Resorts. And you've been with TUI for 6 years, I believe.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah. And TUI, of course, is one of Europe's biggest operators. You've got a huge range of resorts. You've got an airline, TUI Fly, cruise division, Marella Cruises, and obviously plenty of travel agencies. So talking about package holidays, a strong package holiday market is all about the ecosystem. You've got the excitement of looking around to book, that purchase experience, and then the holiday itself. And then you've got that brand holding it all together. And I think we've got just under about 15 minutes, but in that time, I'd love to talk to you about the art of storytelling in a crisis, and then discuss the power of brands and how the package sector looks now as Europe starts to reopen. And then if we can, try to peek into the future and get your take on what the recovery looks like. If that sounds good to you.
Okay, yeah, sounds great.
So, clearly coronavirus has broken several links in that ecosystem. There are no package holidays at the moment. We all know this. So my first question is...
There are some.
There are some. Okay, there's a few green shoots. But my first question is really, what, as a Chief Marketing Officer, what do you do? What's the story or the messaging you've had to do?
Yeah. All right. Yeah. I mean, actually, we were doing pretty fine before the coronavirus came up, and we were double-digit ahead of last year. And as you know, we established the TUI brand across Europe quite successfully. We repositioned ourselves a little bit from being a pure trader of holiday experiences to someone who's more focusing also on the experiences like hotels, and then recently with the acquisition of Musement, also excursions and other things. So we try to broaden our brand. And I mean, this all worked well. And then out of a sudden, we fully stopped the operation. And TUI never did anything like this earlier. And I mean, to be honest, we needed to adapt our way of working and also to keep the colleagues motivated and to, in these extraordinary circumstances, find a way of changing, let's say, the way of working. And then also the approach to the market was quite difficult, but in the end, it worked quite well. I mean, what did we do? Yeah, we said, let's come up with something that entertains our customers while they cannot travel. I mean, that was then the reason why we came up with this idea, don't stop dreaming. And we, as also some colleagues of us in the travel industry, try to send some positive messages to, of course, everyone who was, let's say, a bit insecure. We also did some, let's say, social media events. We asked our people from the fitness department to do some video fitness courses. Some of our chefs gave out some recipes and showed how to cook things. So we, let's say, try to keep the ball running. And then as now the market is coming back step by step, we started our welcome back message. Of course, we didn't do any paid media at that time. So we purely focused, let's say, on what we can do on our own, and of course, closely manage or watch the direct traffic. That was, let's say, the main thing that we did. And now, yeah, business is coming back and we see some nice developments in part of the businesses, I have to say. I mean, overall, it's still quite low, but you see it's coming back. And of course, that then is giving energy to the system and energy to the company and the colleagues.
Okay, so you've been trying to keep that dream alive with marketing. I mean, it seems to be that there's announcements. Oh,
sorry. Yeah, I'm listening.
It seems that there are announcements pretty much every day now about different countries opening up, and I believe that from Germany, TUI is flying to Mallorca. So I think that was since June the 15th. So are you able to kind of tap into that optimism of people actually getting back onto planes and having holidays again? Is that part of your marketing mix?
Yeah, I would say it's twofold. Of course, I mean, the great experience customers can experience while they go on holiday, that's the main message. And I think it will be and stays as the main message. But it's, let's say, combined with a message of safety. I mean, safety is the number one priority for people now to travel abroad. And it's important that people understand what TUI is doing to make sure that their travel and their holiday is safe. And I mean, we make the utmost to clearly communicate that without, let's say, scaring people off. So, I mean, we don't want to talk a lot about intensive care units or whatsoever, but at the same time, we need to message that people are safe when they go with TUI. And I think there is also, let's say, a natural advantage of package holidays at this point, because the end-to-end experience and the degree of control that TUI and companies like TUI have with regards to the customer experience is helping, and people understand that. And so it's, relatively speaking, easy.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, we heard that earlier this morning with Accor and IHG talking about the power of the power of brands. TUI is, I think, since Thomas Cook kind of has kind of moved off to the sidelines slightly over the last couple of years. With TUI's brand name in Europe, do you think it really does help reassure customers? I mean, does it make your job easy? Can you just put your feet up? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, when we start, absolutely. I mean, without any doubt. I mean, when we started the brand transformation process, and when we took a look at the brand 4 years ago, we saw that safety and reliability, these kind of values are absolutely strong in the brand. And we needed to make sure that the brand, let's say, gets a little bit more sexy in a way. But these kind of values that matter today are a core part of the brand and help massively convincing customers. And I mean, maybe it's a little bit early days, but I think there maybe there is a comeback of package holidays. I mean, they never disappeared, but people understand the value of that product and the value of the end-to-end control.
Yeah. Okay. I mentioned before, you act as MD of the TUI Hotels and Resorts division, and TUI is more than TUI. You've got several brands. So I want to ask, what's your marketing strategy for those other brands? I mean, I know I've been to a Sensatori resort before. You've got Blue, Robinson Holidays. You've got the Morella Cruises. Are they a kind of asset for you that you can leverage, or are you kind of moving those to the side and focus on TUI as a giant in Europe? What's your take on that?
It depends a little bit. You mentioned quite a number of brands that we operate. And I mean, if we go back some years, TUI was known as a company that had almost 100 different brands, and we needed to, let's say, sharpen a little bit the focus. And so we came up with a portfolio of then firstly 21, and now it's 7, and we may even consolidate further. But I mean, it's a little bit of give and take here. So the TUI master brand, of course, gives a lot to the brand that carries the 3 letters TUI. And you can see that, for example, for TUI Blue, that was only founded 2 years ago or 3 years ago from now. And when we added the TUI to the Blue, of course, this gives a lot of confidence and a lot of trust into that brand. So that helps a lot. On the other side, we have brands like Robinson. You mentioned this German club brand. It has its own life. There are connections to the mother brand TUI, but it's strong enough and well known in the target group. As also, I think Sensatori is a little bit, maybe not to the same degree, but it's kind of connected to TUI, but it's not fully dependent on TUI as brands like TUI Blue, for example. So it depends a little bit. Of course, we try to combine this. I mean, TUI Blue is a fantastic hotel experience, and we see that from the customer ratings. And this, of course, reflects back to the trading brand TUI in the source market. So you can, let's say, play it both ways, and that works out quite nicely at the moment, I have to say.
Okay. Some companies launching, new brands, in a crisis. Do you think there's anything to be said for launching new brands? So it's kind of got this new image. It could play on maybe safety and security. Would TUI look to launch a new name?
That's an interesting thought. No, I haven't thought about it. I think you always need some resources to launch a brand. I mean, of course, it depends now on the product that you want to launch, but let's assume it's a kind of normal product. No, I haven't thought about it, and for sure we don't have the resource to do a proper brand launch. But if you have a very specific niche product, of course I can imagine that makes sense. I mean, it really depends on the situation.
Yeah. Okay. You mentioned before about the safety image of a package holiday, and I think we're going to be able to run a poll for the delegates, and we're going to ask. Hopefully, we'll be able to ask. In the recovery phase, will there actually be more demands than before for the package holidays? So it'll be interesting to see what the attendees think of that. I listened into your CEO Friemuth talking about the first resorts that are going to open are going to be located near to medical facilities. Because obviously there's still risks. People have that perception of risk around the virus. Is that a good story to be telling? Do you want to be shouting about that from the rooftops?
Yeah, I think it's always good to be close to a hospital, right? So nothing wrong with that. If whether that is our let's say biggest marketing claim, I don't know. I mean, it's of course important that these days people are getting the message that you are able to take care of them in case something happens. I mean, that was always important, but of course, these days it's very important. People ask about it. They send us letters. They call us to understand what they can, or in which way we support them in case something happens. So I think it makes sense to give a certain degree of messages that talk about safety and the ability of TUI taking care of people, and in case they want to go back, we are able to get them back. I mean, remember all those stranded people months ago that didn't go with a tour operator and needed to wait for the governments to carry them back home, and then they received an invoice in Germany, for example, for being lifted by the government. So and some people, I mean, a friend of mine, he lost some baggage, and I mean, he doesn't know where this baggage is, and no one knows. So it's lost, and these kind of things, I think we can prevent people from experiencing, and this is a value in itself and is worth to communicate. So I think Fritz is right. The question is, to what do you point that out?
So part of the mix. Again, we talked again about the ecosystem, and sometimes for a lot of people, the package holiday starts with the travel agency experience. Walking through those doors and looking through, I don't know, brochures or talking to people to get, again, building that dream up. Like most of the industry, TUI has had to make some tough choices. I think there was some news from France. TUI is looking to close some 70 high street stores. And I think perhaps, a lot of agencies, tour operators have done the same. So there's going to be a slightly reduced retail footprint. From a marketing perspective, the way you sell holidays, do you think you're going to be shifting some of your focus from, I don't know, TV or physical, print advertising towards online advertising? Is that kind of part of the digital acceleration you mentioned before?
Yeah, yes, you're absolutely right, Matthew. I mean, of course, now with COVID, I think there is an element of acceleration, but not a change in strategy, actually. I mean, retail is important, and some of our customers really like retail, and some of our products need a lot of explanation. So I think there is a value in retail, no doubt. But what we see is already since years, of course, this shift to digital. And I mean, if you take a look to markets like Nordics, no retail agent left since a couple of years already. If you take a look to the UK, the same. So it's not that this is a completely new thing. It's ongoing for quite some time. But again, it's now boosted or accelerated by the fact that, I mean, we are in very difficult economical circumstances, and we need to react to that, of course.
Okay. Again, I want to talk about the package experience. You know, we've talked about that security being looked after. Refunds is obviously a hot topic across the industry. Perhaps airlines most relevant in terms of the customer expectations. We heard earlier from Richard Clark from Bernstein talking about, you know, how companies are refunding their customers, and interestingly, companies like TUI have been quite slow to respond, while Booking.com and Airbnb, the kind of independent DIY holidays, have been a lot faster. So it's not what you'd imagine, really. So I'm just wondering, what's your response as a marketeer to that? Do you now have to win the trust back from customers?
Yeah, I mean, it's a situation that I guess no one before that has ever gone into. I mean, we stopped the full operation, and maybe that's a little bit of then more challenging than for other players, because we not only have a hotel booking, but we have everything. I mean, we have retail, we have the airline, we have destination services, and then the hotel experience. And we needed to, let's say, get up to speed quite quickly. Serving a lot of customers in that situation means that you get a lot of requests, and that's fair to say, we needed some time to, let's say, get ready and serve our customers in let's say, a way that they expect from us and that they know from us. I think we then reacted quite quickly, and I think we serve our customers in a quality that is fully okay and in line also with the brand promise. From insights, we don't see any, let's say, damages. I think lots of players in our industry need to, let's say, treat our people or our guests in a way that they understand that we also understand that they were also in a difficult situation, and everyone has a different way of doing that. I think we also have good ways of reacting to that. So I think the promise is still intact. The brand scores are good. And I think also the customers understand that this was a very specific situation. As now the travel bans are getting lifted, I mean, we clearly see that this situation eases, and customers are coming back, and I think the demand pattern is good.
Yeah, and I think there was something like 1.5 million holidays that were cancelled, but I guess customers might be more inclined to, well, hopefully use some of those vouchers or those credit notes.
Yeah, that's true. And I mean, our first flight to Mallorca was sold out in 36 hours. So there is certainly demand. So that's good.
Okay. Again, going back to this morning with IHG and Accor, talking about, and there's a lot of pent-up demand. I think Karen was saying, people sitting literally on the edge of their seats waiting to find out where we can go next. And it's, again, there were a lot of positivity talking about, it's going to be a great summer for Europe. To kind of wrap up our session today and go out on a high note, can you give me an idea of, what TUI is now going to do from a marketing and operational perspective for the European market? What needs to be done now to get people on holiday again, from your perspective?
I mean, the domestic demand is really good. I think that's everywhere. We see high occupancies in those hotels. The demand for European destinations like Greece, Cyprus is also good. Spain now coming in with Mallorca, hopefully soon Canaries. And then, of course, we are looking forward to, let's say, some non-EU destinations, specifically Turkey, of course. I mean, we have quite some significant capacity in Turkey. I think that's important. And what we see is that people really are keen to go back on holidays. I mean, they were locked in their homes. They want to experience, again, holidays with their families. Everyone is a little bit stressed out. So what we see is that people are really keen to go abroad. I'm not so sure that, let's say, it can be fully done this year. I expect summer 21 to be, let's say, the moment in time where we see a full rebound.
Okay, so we can expect to see some more keeping the dream alive marketing messages from yourself. Great stuff. Okay, well, unfortunately, I think we're out of time with this session. So I just want to thank you again, Erik, for joining us. And of course, we wish you a successful reopening for the summer, both for Europe and elsewhere. So thank you again for your time.
Thank you, Matthew. It was really nice being here. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
And I think coming up next, I believe we'll be hearing from Skift, and they're going to be in conversation with Destination Canada. So thanks for listening.